The 1982 to 1984 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 was an actual standout in the third-generation Camaro lineup, combining aggressive styling with some advanced performance features. But did Chevrolet reinvent the muscle car or actually betray it? Was it indeed a bold move or a step too far? Did the 1982 to 1984 Z28 actually dare to be different? Sit back and be mind-blown by the answers that's going to unveil. Have you ever felt like the world was falling apart around you, but something inside you refused to give up? That's exactly what happened to the automotive world in 1981. A time of economic chaos, inflation getting away at people's dreams, and fuel prices climbing like a mountain with no near peak in sight. The American automotive industry was literally on its knees, gasping for breath. But then there was the Chevrolet Camaro Z28, who was a beacon of hope in a sea of total uncertainty. What made this car so special was that it could survive when everything else seemed to be crumbling. In a year when most manufacturers were cutting production down, Chevrolet did something revolutionary. They produced 43,272 Camaro Z28s, and every single one found a home. Just close your eyes and imagine the scene when dealerships are filled with these amazing machines, their sleek lines catching the light. The Z28 wasn't just a car, but it was a rebellion on wheels. While economists were predicting doom, car enthusiasts were saying something totally different. They were declaring that passion couldn't be destroyed by spreadsheets and recession charts. Chevrolet could have actually continued producing the second-generation Camaro Z28 for the rest of the 1980s. Its styling was that popular and its appeal that strong. Can you just imagine the conversations in boardrooms? Executives looking at sales numbers, scratching their heads, absolutely going mad about how this car was defying all economic logic. Well, the Z28 was more than just metal and engineering, because it was a symbol of hope and a promise that American automotive excellence wasn't dead, but it was just waiting for the right time. Each car that rolled off the production line was a backlash to economy, a statement that said, "We're not giving up." But change was coming alongside. The automotive world was about to undergo a transformation that would challenge everything because people knew about performance cars. The Z28 was standing at the edge of a precipice, ready to either fall into obscurity or take a leap into automotive legend. Now we encounter a peculiar question. What exactly happens when you're told to completely reimagine yourself while keeping your soul intact? That was the challenge facing Chevrolet's engineers in the early 1980s. Just imagine the pressure to create a marvel car that meets strict fuel economy standards and reduces emissions, but still makes car enthusiasts' adrenaline rise. It was like asking a heavyweight boxer to become a ballet dancer. Kinda impossible, right? The Z28's team didn't think so. They looked at their beloved muscle cars and saw not just metal, but absolute machinery, just potential waiting to be unleashed. The transformation was nothing short of a miracle. The new 1982 Camaro Z28 wasn't just a car, but it was a statement. Just think of walking into a room and shedding 500 pounds overnight. That's exactly what this car did, dropping from a hefty 3,600 pounds to a nimble 3,169 pounds. But this wasn't just about losing weight. It was about gaining something more important, which was agility, precision, and a new kind of performance. Want to know the fascinating part? This wasn't just a diet, but it was a complete reinvention. Every single panel, every curve was just designed with some purpose. The exterior dimensions were downsized, but the spirit remained untouched. It was like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly, but with the same essence, a completely fresh form. But how do you maintain performance while meeting increasing government standards? Fuel economy, emissions, and safety weren't just comments anymore, but they were strict rules that could potentially kill the performance car dream. But then Chevrolet's engineers became automotive magicians. They didn't just meet the standards, but they also danced around them. The new Z28 had an incredibly low drag coefficient of just 0.37. You know what that means? It meant the car could slice through the air like a hot knife through butter, saving fuel while maintaining its performance history. And what makes a car truly come alive? Is it just metal and machinery or something more? Let's first start with the standard LG4 5.0-liter V8, an engine that wasn't about breaking speed records, but about telling a story. 145 horsepower might not sound earth-shattering by today's standards, but back then it was poetry in motion. This wasn't just an engine, but it was a conversation starter, a reason for car artists to gather and share their passion. But Chevrolet knew that some drivers would actually want more. Enter the Crossfire fuel injection V8, a technology that seemed like it came straight from a science fiction movie. A computer-controlled system with dual throttle body injectors, a setup so modernized that it was like giving the car a brain of its own. This wasn't just fuel injection, but this was the future knocking on the automotive world's door. And do you know what happened in 1983? In June 1983, Chevrolet dropped a bombshell that would make performance enthusiasts weak in the knees. The L69 high-output V8 burst onto the scene, producing a thrilling 190 horsepower. And here's the twist. Car and Driver magazine couldn't actually believe their stopwatches, 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.7 seconds. This wasn't just fast, but this was faster than the legendary 1969 Camaro Z28. Can you even imagine the technical details behind this? Every component was carefully designed and every system was accurately tuned. The mandatory 5-speed manual transmission wasn't just a way to change gears, but it was an invitation to become one with the machine. But here's something to think about. How did they achieve this performance while meeting increasingly strict emission standards? It was literally like solving an impossible puzzle. Chevrolet's engineers weren't just mechanics, but they were automotive alchemists, turning restrictions into opportunities. The optional 4-speed automatic transmission offered another level of choice. It was as if the car was saying, "I adapt to you, not the other way around." Performance wasn't just about speed anymore, but now the game revolved around personalization, about creating an experience unique to each driver. Now, what transforms a car from a mere machine to a legend? Is it just about how fast it can go in a straight line, or is there something more? The 1982 Camaro Z28 wasn't just a speed demon, but it was a precision instrument, a car that could dance through corners with a grace that would make European sports car manufacturers sit up and take notice. A machine that could hold its own against a Porsche 928, a car that cost 4 times as much. Let's paint a picture. You're driving down a winding road, the world blurring around you. But inside the Z28, everything is super clear. The steering is so precise it feels like an extension of your own body. Here's the twist. Skid pad handling test result was 0.81 G. Insane, right? This wasn't just a car, but it was a partner in performance. You can literally feel the optional 4-wheel disc brakes. They weren't just about stopping, but they were about control and about confidence. Approaching a tight corner at speed, knowing your car will respond exactly how you want it to do. How did Chevrolet create a car that could compete with much more expensive European sports cars? It wasn't about throwing money at the problem, but it was about intelligent design and about understanding that true performance isn't just about raw power, but about balance. The suspension architecture was a marvel of engineering. Each component was designed not in vague, but as part of a complex, interconnected system. Want to know something that would blow your mind? The Z28 could match the handling of cars that cost 4 times as much. This wasn't just a car, but this was a statement. A declaration that American automotive engineering could compete with the best in the world. But performance wasn't just about numbers on a chart, it was about feeling. The moment you sat in the driver's seat, you knew this was something special. The car seemed to whisper, "Let's go on an adventure," promising not just transportation, but an experience. But have you ever looked at something and felt an immediate connection? That's exactly what happened when people first saw the 1982 to 1984 Camaro Z28. This wasn't just a car, but it was a work of art that told a story of its time. 4 square headlamps, which are bold, confident, almost challenging you to look away. The genuine fastback roofline wasn't just about design choice, but it was a statement about freedom, about breaking away from conventional thinking. And that rear-opening glass hatchback, it was like the car was inviting you into a world of adventure. Walking into a Chevrolet dealership in 1982, the Z28 wasn't just sitting there, but it was performing, even when stationary. Just the right amount of spoilers hinted at the performance waiting to be unleashed, like a predator coiled and ready to spring. But the design wasn't just about looking good. Every single line and every curve was carefully calculated to improve aerodynamics, reduce drag, to make the car more efficient. This was engineering disguised as art. The interior was a total revelation. Easy-to-read instrumentation that didn't just show information, but told an actual story. Sitting in the driver's seat, surrounded by a dashboard that felt like it had stepped out of the future. Want to know something fascinating? The design spoke to a new generation of automotive artists. It wasn't trying to recreate the past, but it was creating a new look of what a performance car could be. And what about the color options? It was magical to see how each shade revealed something new. This was a car that looked different depending on the time of day, on the mood of the viewer. The Z28 wasn't just designed to be looked at, but it was designed to be experienced. Every time you touched the steering wheel, every time you shifted gears, you were part of a story that was much larger than yourself. What turns a car from a mere machine into an absolute legend? Is it speed, design, or something more intangible? For the 1982 to 1984 Camaro Z28, that moment of recognition came when Motor Trend crowned it Car of the Year. But this wasn't just an award, it was a validation of everything Chevrolet had dared to dream. Today, these Z28s are more than just mere collector's items. They're historical artifacts, telling a story of a time when American automotive engineering was reinventing itself. Every dent, every scratch, every original component tells a story of adventure, of passion, of a time when cars were more than just transportation. The original owners, now perhaps grandparents, would be telling their grandchildren about this car. This wasn't just a car, they'd say. This was a dream made of steel, rubber, and unbridled passion. The legacy of the Z28 isn't just about numbers or performance specs, but it's about the spirit of innovation, about refusing to accept limitations. It showed that true greatness comes from reimagining what's possible, from looking at challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. As years pass, the 1982 to 1984 Camaro Z28 continues to inspire. It reminds us that innovation isn't about following rules, but it's about creating new ones. It whispers a timeless message that with creativity, passion, and determination, you can transform not just a car, but an entire industry. That's a wrap. The 1982 to 1984 Camaro Z28 remains a hot topic for enthusiasts and critics alike. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, and please make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss our next episode in the Muscle Car Vault. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one we posted just before this. It's right up your alley and packed with even more gearhead goodness.